Hi everyone, here we go again. This is the continuation of the Bastion review that I played the first time and I finally beat it. So we're going to talk about how the sounds and music are and gameplays and controls and graphics and art style. So he's the real gamer here, so I'm going to take some points from him. And yeah, we'll see how it's gonna go.
So we're gonna review the game, starting with gameplay and controls.
Yes.
What did you think about the gameplay? I'll go next. What did you think about the gameplay?
I think it's really good for me because he really makes it easy for me. I'm not using keyboard. So it's so cool. Just using your fingers, and it's amazing for me to like play it for real because I'm only watching him playing it and it looks like, oh yeah, so cool, and it looks like so complicated, if that, how do you explain it? For me it looks like complicated, but he looks like he's enjoying it. It's so easy, but when I do it myself, at first I'm having a hard time, but it's so cool. Actually, now that I'm playing some stuff, I feel like I'm still doing the same game control from other games, so I really like it. I really do like it.
Yeah. For me, the gameplay, and this is just me being honest, I feel like the gameplay for Bastion was very simple. Not in a bad way. I think in a very good way, because it's like it's basic. It's not something that you spend hours and hours trying to figure out. It's not clunky. It's smooth. The controls are slick and nice and responsive. Mm-hmm. And I like that about Bastion. But on the other hand, a little bit, it's kind of bare bones when it comes to the battle system and everything. It was just kind of it's like an isometric Zelda, right? It's not really. It wasn't really.
I need to play that one.
Yeah, right. That's another game on the list, but yeah, it wasn't for me. I don't think the gameplay, because the gameplay's good. I don't want to say it's one of the highlights though. I think the next section we're going to talk about sound and music next, and I feel like that's where this game really shined. I mean, the art style as well. The graphics are really nice, but the sound and the music, like that's where this game really shined in.
Yes.
And the gameplay, it's good. I like the gameplay. I enjoyed it. But if it was just about the gameplay, I don't think it would have been quite as engaging if it didn't have anything else to go with it. But
with sound and music, it's so perfect.
Oh yeah.
I really like it.
Yeah. So tell us about the sound and music. What did you think?
It's amazing. Up until now, even if I'm playing different games, especially when when the music is playing, I always like I always play it in my mind, and because there's a lot of like music that connected to their stories, sometimes I'm getting mixed, but it's still amazing to hear that they have stories, and you're not just playing games. It can really go to your heart if you're listening to it, and you're not just playing because you have to beat the game. But I really like it. It's just so amazing.
Yeah.
I know sometimes, I don't know if he's like complaining that I keep singing the music sometimes.
No.
It's just stuck in my mind, like it's so good.
That was the sound and music. I mean, the music is really good, right? Like they have some good songs in there that get you pumped up when you need to get pumped up, and the amount of suspense that is added to certain parts of this game because of the music, that's where the experience is.
Yeah, there's like a specific music that your heart is gonna be like chig, like you have to do this, you have to go.
Yeah.
That there's so much enemy
Yes.
coming, or the boss or something. Specifically there's some music that there's some kind of boss that if that music pop up, you know that this is specific enemy is that from it's for that music. It's amazing. So you should be ready for that.
And the thing about the music, I mean, not just the music. Obviously, like Kimmy's saying here, the music also, some of the music I would say also relates to the story. So, which is a section that we didn't even include in our notes, but we're going to talk about that too. But the thing about it is they were able to take the sound, the music, and really relate it to the story and vice versa. So, for example, there's this section in the game, and I guess we should try to leave out spoilers, but there's a section in the game, where there's a character that you find, and in the background when you're trying to find the character, you can hear the character singing a song from the game soundtrack, and she's singing this song, and the song is supposed to be like some sort of folk song in the game's lore. So it's like she's playing this song, and then you're like, oh, where's this person? So you just keep trying to find a person, and then of course then that kind of
the
brings you
like louder and lower the volume. If you're getting farther and farther from her, that means, oh no, you have to go back and find another way.
and then but then that also kind of takes us to the narrator, and this is where the game completely shines, because there's so many ways to tell a story in a game. And actually, I take that back, and you can fight me on this one. There are not very many ways to tell a story in a game, I would say. I mean, there are different ways to do it, but I feel like, either it's going to be a text box with some with or without voice acting, or it's going to be just all voice acted cutscenes, different things like that. But this game didn't even do any of those. This game has a narrator narrating the entire game. And so you have like sections where you'll do something in the game, and the narrator will actually respond to it by explaining, and he's telling the story like in the past tense. So it's like as if he's telling the story to someone, and you do something, and then he just starts talking about it, and it's cool. It's really awesome. And
I kind of remember one time, not actually just one time, because I actually kept doing it because of the enemies around me, like I'm smashing the statue like character of the people before, and the narrator is saying something like crazy. I'm so rage
rage,
and I want to see like death on the ground or something.
When they're talking about the guy, I forgot his name, but they're like, he always wanted to have his ashes scattered here. So it's really stuff like that. And the narrator, and here's the thing that's really cool, and it kind of goes into the story, but the narrator kind of carries this gruff kind of like old Western guy vibe with him. He talks like, and it's really cool, but I guess we'll get into that,
I'm so bad saying that the voice before doesn't match, because he looks like an old man, but it's just so manly. For me, it's just so manly, and it's just so perfect to narrate. Especially, we're talking about the game. It's just a game, but it's not just a game. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's
really
cool.
Amazing.
It's really an experience. Really, it's a cool game, and it's funny because you can get this game for like on sale for like $3 on like the Nintendo eShop or like different stuff, and you can get it like super cheap, and it's like
there you go.
That's if you're on a budget and you're looking for something to play, this is definitely the game. But so graphics and art style, I didn't want to spend too much time talking about this, but what do you think about the graphics and
The art
The
style?
art style,
Oh,
yeah.
I really like it. Because you look like you're watching an anime, but it's painted. That's it. That's all
Yeah.
I can say about it. It's really good.
Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah. I feel the same way. It's kind of like it's just hand painted.
Yes.
It actually, when I first played the game, I had already played games from the Vanillaware series of games. Vanillaware. If you're not, if you're not familiar with Vanillaware, they make hand painted games. You remember we played like Odin Sphere and
Okay, yeah.
so or Dragon's Crown. Odin Sphere and Dragon's Crown, those are both made by Vanillaware, and they like they do all hand painted. This game has a similar art style. It's not as detailed and as rich as as something like Odin Sphere or Dragon's Crown, but it's still a very pretty game.
It is pretty.
Yeah, and that kind of brings me, and we're gonna go a little bit into the story, but I wanted to mention the definitely the way they set up the game with its art style. It kind of has an old Western feel. It's weird because usually when we have fantasy games, it's usually like knights and paladins and like all like stuff like that. You have your
It's like basic.
Dragons, but this game took it in a totally different direction, totally left field. And even though it has its fantasy elements, it feels more like an old Western, like fantasy. So the characters, they look like they're from the old days with the cowboys and the Wild West and things like that. But on the other hand, and even some of the enemies too in the game carry that feel. But on the other hand, you have this kid wielding this giant hammer, and it's just it's kind of a bizarre concept, but it really worked. The music too kind of plays along with that, but story.
The story it's really good, because I didn't know that at the last part you have different choices. Like I think two, like two choices at the first time, and then for the last part, the very last part is another two. So it depends on you on which one you choose, and I totally choose different one. If you're watching my gameplay, you knew that what I chose, but it's so different from what he chose. And we were laughing because I feel so bad that I made the bad guy happy, then the one I'm trying to be happy. So yeah, it's just funny, but I had fun. I really had fun.
Yeah, I like the lore, and lore, like the background, the story of everything. I had a friend that I talked to, and when we talked a lot about this game, we talked about the backgrounds. Like they talk about the breakers and who else? The marshals and like those like different types of different character classes, I guess. It would have been really cool if we could see more of that in the game. Like if there was like a prequel game or something where they would show the world before the calamity, and you would see the breakers and the marshals, like to see how the world kind of worked. I mean, you kind of get an idea of it from the way the stages looked and the way that the old man kind of
narrating you. So all you have to do is just focus in imagining what's really going on.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. I really liked the enemies. I thought the enemies they were kind of between being kind of cute, but then at the same time they were menacing too. It was a nice mixture of the two.
Yeah, I really like it, especially when I thought that the cute ones, the squirt, it's just the enemy itself. But when I found out that I can be friends with them, they can come, It's just so cute, and it's so amazing that they make it that way. So there's some enemies and there's some nice cute stuff that you can just go like something like that. It's so cool. And you can see the heart popping up on their head.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, I like that. The story is good. The game's not very long. It's not something that you're not going to be playing like 30 hours, 40 hours. But the story, it's good for what it is, and I liked it. And
yeah, I know, it's just something random. It's just because you were thinking that it's a long game that you have to finish it. No, you can chop the game, just save it, because it automatically saves from where you are. And if you're watching again my video, you'll notice that I have sometimes same clothes and sometimes different clothing because because I don't watch it the whole time. I'm a wife, okay? Yeah, so I'm really just having fun, and like on this my channel, I want to beat this game as a challenge for me as a wife turning into a gamer. So
yeah. And just to clarify the explanation, so like because the way we did it was we decided to like have like longer stretches of gameplay where she would play for like maybe an hour and then chop it up into like 3 different parts, because we were just like, okay, we wouldn't imagine that someone would want to sit down for a whole hour and just watch, for a whole hour. I mean, that kind of contradicts a little bit, because we have been playing Streets of Rage, and we've been trying to beat that, and then we would just go and throw that into one video, and then and I think that's just because like
it's really a short game.
Yeah, it's not like something like Bastion where it's just a little bit longer, but it's just, I don't know if a little bit, it's quite a bit longer, because Streets of Rage you can beat it in like an hour and a half, but
yeah. But if you're going to ask me again if I want to play Bastion again, I will. And I will play it definitely different this time. I will go to different quests, different boss, and I will going to choose the right one. I think I choose the right one though.
Yeah, I mean, and without spoiling it, there are a couple of pretty tough choices at the end of the game, and it's weird because you don't have those kinds of choices throughout the entire game up until that point. And then like right at that point they're like, okay, so you decide, life or death, and it's like so definitely it's interesting what they did with the story. I really enjoyed it. And
I really enjoy it.
Yeah, so
I'm spoiled because I choose it the very first one as my gameplay, my playthrough. As my playthrough.
Yeah.
And I so feel privileged because I am the one who have the choice to do it, to pick one which I want, and not from the very beginning that he played before, because I says, maybe not, because it's too pixelated or the control is this and that, but I'm so happy I played this Bastion first.
Yeah, I think it was a good pick for the first game. I think we probably should have, from there we could have just went up to something like Dust and Elysian Tale. That would have been kind of cool to watch, but we'll get to that eventually. Right now, what do you guys think? Should we rate games with a 1 to 5 or 1 to 10 scale, or should we just say whether we recommend it or not? Like for me, I like just saying, hey, you should play this game, or hey, you should not play this game. I don't like to do the I don't like to do the whole like the whole rating scale thing, because the problem with that is you're putting it up against every other game that's ever made, and that's really hard to do. I remember one time
comparing it to others.
Well, I remember one time talking to a friend of mine, and we talked about rating games. And this is a little bit off subject, sorry, but he was talking about what the best game ever made was, and he goes on to tell me it was Shenmue. And I mean, it was, I don't know about that, but at the time he was like, oh, Shenmue, I think Shenmue must be the best game ever made. But imagine comparing Shenmue to every single thing that comes out. So, and that's what you do when you put a rating down. So, at least in my opinion.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So I feel like we should just say, we recommend it.
I recommend it.
Yeah. So
totally recommend it.
yeah, we recommend Bastion, and again, you can pick it up for like super cheap on a sale. Would I say that you should get it on sale? I think it's up to each person. I try to get games on sale because I try to save money, and there are lots of games to play.
Yeah.
But as far as this game, I'm sure it's worth the money.
It is.
I think how much is it? It's normally like $15, I think, but or $10 or something.
But it was a really good game.
Yeah,
Definitely.
really good. Yeah, so
Awesome game.
yeah, so stay tuned, and we will see you guys again.
Yep. Thank you so much. Bye bye.